What's up everyone, welcome to this POV review by AutoTopNL. My name is Max and today we are driving this Porsche Panamera Turbo SE Hybrid. So the all new hybrid version of the Panamera Turbo, and it replaces the old Turbo S. So this is now the fastest and most powerful Panamera you can get. So very cool spec today, I think. Ristretto brown with a truffle brown interior, and especially combined with those e-hybrid green details, this looks really cool. So we have carbon ceramic brakes as standard on the e-hybrid, regenerative brakes as well, and we have a couple of logos like this, which I think is very cool and sexy. There again, Panamera Turbo S with that green line. We have that huge rear wing which folds out and just looks really cool. So on this side we have the charge port, and on the other side we have the regular fuel filler cap. Okay, so again, Panamera Turbo S with that green line, and the interior is really cool. A lot of leather, even on the key. So this key is painted in the same color as this, but you even have this little pouch. I don't know how much it costs, and I don't think I want to know. So when you start it up, it automatically starts in hybrid mode, so no sound obviously, but if I select Sport Plus, it starts up. So let's put it in neutral. So you get a nice V8 rumble, and well, let's take it for a drive. We will start in hybrid mode. So again, it switches off the petrol engine. So as I said, we are in hybrid mode, so it decides when to use which motor. But let me show you something cool, because I'll switch to e-power mode. Foot on the brake, full throttle. Oh, that doesn't work. E-launch. There we go. No, that didn't work either. But it should be able to do an e-launch and give you full electric power, and it will do 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in about 7 seconds, which isn't bad, because this car weighs 2,300 kilos, which is over 300 kilos more than a standard Panamera Turbo. So, you know, that 14 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery with about 136 horsepower really adds something to this drivetrain. So basically this is the Panamera Turbo V8 with 550 horsepower, and then we have the electric components from the Panamera 4 e-hybrid. So that's how this works, and that's how you end up with this crazy 680 horsepower and 850 newton meters of torque. So let's switch to Sport Plus. The sound really isn't that impressive, but you can get an optional sport exhaust. So I would recommend you get one if you get this car, because this is pretty quiet in here. So this car will do 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 3.4 seconds compared to the 3.8 of the Panamera Turbo. Top speed is 310 kilometers an hour. The Panamera Turbo does 306. But here's the deal, we drove this car on the Autobahn already, and we'll take it to the Autobahn again for this review. But it feels like at higher speeds that electric motor or battery, or I don't know what it is, it doesn't really seem to extract that much power from it, because it is really fast initially, and then the difference sort of levels out between this and a turbo. So I don't really know what's up with that. It seems like the electric motors only work up until a certain point, but I don't know this for sure. But that's also, you know, that's the biggest benefit of this electric hybrid drivetrain, because you have that turbo engine, that V8, and the electric motors are used to sort of fill the gaps, to compensate for turbo lag, and to give it some extra boost at low RPM. So actually when you drive this car in sport mode or sport plus or hybrid, the engine or the drivetrain unit chooses to use electric boost rather than shifting down. So it will stay in gear and give you an electric boost, which means that you get a very direct acceleration, which feels great. And I also think that because you know, this is now the range-stopping Panamera, I think there will be a Cayenne Turbo S hybrid and a Macan Turbo S e-hybrid, and eventually even a Turbo S 911 e-hybrid. Because this is sort of the direction that Porsche is taking their performance models. They want to be able to boost performance with those electric motors, and I think that's a really, really great development, because they showed us with the 918 Spider that they could make a hybrid car sexy, but that wasn't too hard with that crazy machine. But now they've shown us that even with this Panamera, they can make it sexy, they can make it violent and silent. And not only have they made it sexy, they have made it cheaper as well, because here in the Netherlands and in other countries as well, you have certain tax breaks for cars that are easy on the CO2. Let's put it like that. Because this car has a CO2 emission which is less than a Toyota Prius. And that means here in the Netherlands that you only pay about 7,200 euros in tax. Whereas the standard Panamera Turbo will cost you about 34,000 euros in tax. And I know that other countries have similar tax breaks for hybrid and electric vehicles. So that means that this car is just as expensive as a turbo, but you do get that 130 horsepower extra. So it seems like a good deal. Okay, so to unleash the real potential of this car, let's go to the Autobahn and see if it is as violent as I hoped it was. So we are on the Autobahn. Yay, this is always my favorite part, of course. So this should be an incredible Autobahn car, because we have this very nice balanced Panamera chassis with that monstrous drivetrain with 680 horsepower. And let me tell you, this car is very direct in everything. I mean, it's so aggressive on the throttle, on the braking, the steering input. I mean, it feels like, you know, this is a very, very heavy car, but it does manage to hide its weight a bit, because it's 2,300 kilos, and that is a heavy car. But the way this car shifts, moves a bit under braking as well. It's an impressive car, but I do kind of miss the excitement, the explosive character I was expecting because this is the range-stopping Panamera. This is the beast, 680 horsepower, but it just doesn't feel that explosive. I mean, it's quick. This is 300 kilometers an hour, but it doesn't really get my juices flowing. So as an optional extra, we have that four-wheel steering setup, so the rear axle steers with the front axle, and that should provide some high-speed stability, of course, but I think you notice it more on those B roads I drove earlier. So it's an impressive car nonetheless, but I think Martijn and I should switch and I can check it out from the back seat, because that's impressive as well. So check out this huge wing. I mean, that's so cool. That really makes the outside of this car, I think. Okay, so don't go too crazy, please, because otherwise I'll get sick again. So this is the party piece of the car, I think, especially here in the rear. But let me start by adjusting this seat in front of me so I can have a little more space, and Martijn is going to launch it. So I'll take out the tablet. So I just did that. That's really cool. Yeah. Oh my god. So now I can check on Martijn and say, well, I don't want to go any faster than 300. I can see the analog dial right there, digital rev counter, compass, G-force meter, tire pressure, and temperatures, and then I can see how the power is being distributed. So we have the battery pack in the rear, that 14 kilowatt hour battery, and as Martijn just let off the gas, you can see that those brake calipers light up, or the brake discs. So it's regenerating as we go, and it also sends some juice from the engine down there to the batteries as we go. So it's being charged right now. We can do all sorts of stuff. I mean, this screen it's the same screen, I think, that's in there, but this is really nice and matte. So we can go to apps. I mean, this is just an Android system, I think, so we have all the Google stuff, but we also have YouTube. So we can sit in the back. No, I should select a different video. Let's go for another Porsche, of course. So, so now we even have audio, but there's a headphone somewhere you can use, and I don't have one. So because we are now getting closer to the border, the internet speed is getting worse, but this really works really well, and it's really quick, and you can just put it back like that. We also have this carbon fiber cup holder door, and even adjustable cup holders, so if you have a short drink you can put it in there, and if you have a tall drink like me, I always consider myself to be a tall glass of water, you can put it in there as well, with a USB port, 3 USB ports. Very nice Porsche. We have this little blind right there, temperature of course, massage sheets, ventilated, heated. We can operate this. We can even operate the backrest of the back seats, because this is the comfort seat package. Believe it or not, they don't really look that comfortable, but they are quite nice. Again, one more time. So, you know, this is what this car is about. High speed, lots of comfort. That's 270, 275, 280, 285. You know, that's not a problem for this car. I think this is one of the nicest interiors you can have in a car, especially with those screens, of course. So now that we are back in the Netherlands, let me check if the internet speed is better here. This really is next level. I mean, we drive a lot of these luxury cars like the BMWs and the Mercedes and the Audis. This is I think the best we've ever had when you look at rear seat entertainment. That BMW tablet is okay, but it's not that nice. It doesn't look that good. It's smaller. In the Mercedes S-Class, the screens are really not of this time anymore. Speaking of which, that S63 by AMG and the BMW M760 Li are, and of course the Audi S8, are the main competitors to this car. And before we drove this, I was really looking forward to it, and I thought it was going to be really explosive and monstrous and just an attack on the senses. And whereas the S63, you know, you have that V8 rumble, but it's quite filtered, and but it is really fast. And the M760 is just very quiet and very fast. So you have 3 different candidates, I think. Where this car does really impress me is handling wise, because man, this thing dynamically, it handles so well, especially for a car this big and this heavy. That's really where it's a lot better than the competitors. And finally, this Turbo S is a lot more powerful than the Turbo. I always thought that that gap was a bit too small. It was a bit too easy by Porsche to just call it a Turbo S because it has like 30 horsepower more. So this is a big step up. It's a cool step to include that hybrid power, and yeah, to give it a boost with that hybrid and make it sexy again. So thanks guys, I'm going to end it here. I hope you enjoyed this video. Wave at Martijn. You can subscribe by clicking on the little icon in the bottom right corner, and you can follow us on social media. Just search for AutoTopNL. Thanks guys, bye.